Welcome to this video. Today we're going to talk about what a title company is and exactly how to deal with them. Okay. First and foremost, excuse my voice. I'm about to lose it. My daughter gave me something. I think she had a virus and she gave it to me. The second thing is my studio is at home, very close to the living room. She's chilling with her auntie right now. So if you hear a baby crying on the TV, don't pay attention to it. So today we're going to talk about title companies. This is when you already agreed with the seller that they're going to sell the property to you, they're ready to sign a contract, or they already signed it. So a title company, or depending the state where you are, right? If you're in a state where is a attorney state, you may have to go through a closing attorney. You might have to go through an attorney. Or if it's a state where, like in Maryland, for example, you can go through title companies. Either way, they do the same thing. It's just a legal entity that is in the middle between you and the seller and the buyer. If you're looking to assign the deal, they'll do all the title search, make sure there's no other liens that you don't know about. They'll give you title insurance, right? So that's where all those closing fees comes from. And they're the ones who does all the legal paperwork and then, make sure everybody's protected and then record all those documents at the county recorder's office and then send you over the copies. So this is the legal entity. Real estate is regulated. In order for you to legally buy a property and make sure you're protected the right way, and even for your seller, you have to go through either a closing attorney or a title company, okay? Now, how do you deal with them when you're new and you're looking to open escrow? So opening escrow is when the seller signed a contract. Now, in order for you to start the process of the title search and then the closing and all those things, on average, you have about 30 days, depending on whatever you negotiated, is you send them the contract and then you send them also what is called the earnest money deposit, right? If you don't know what the earnest money deposit is, the earnest money deposit is what legalizes your, contract, basically. It's almost like, when you get married and consume the marriage, that's what it is here. So you get engaged with the seller, then they sign the contract. Now you guys are married. Now, unless you put the earnest money, even if as little as $100, you can put $1, whatever you negotiate with the seller, but you have to send it to that closing attorney or that title company in order for your contract to be legal. Otherwise, your contract is not legal. So it's, as if you didn't have a contract if you don't put earnest money. Now, I'm going to make a separate video to talk about if you don't have earnest money, how you can find, why do a separate video? I'll do it here, but I'll do it at the end so we don't get distracted, okay? So that's what a title company is. So it's a legal entity in the middle. Just look at it like that, okay? Now, guys, you can literally go out of your window, grab a rock, throw it, and hit a title company. There's title companies everywhere, okay? There's closing attorneys everywhere. What you do have to do, though, in the market that you're marketing and finding deals is reaching out to these title companies, especially in the beginning if you're looking to just wholesale, to make sure that, number one, they understand what wholesaling is. Number two, they do those type of transactions, okay? Number three, you introduce yourself so that they know, hey, the introduction could be simple as, hey, my name is X, Y, and Z. I am marketing every single day in this market. I will be getting off-market deals or even on-market, and I will bring business to you guys for closings. Do you work with investors? Okay, fantastic. Do you close on transactions where I'm assigning the deal, where I'm selling my contract? Yes. You want to ask them, do you do creative finance? Do you close subject tools or seller finance, right? Remember, guys, you're bringing business to these people, so you have to vet them. It's almost like you're taking them into an interview process, okay? And this is really important. Also, you introducing yourself is kind of like, you're kind of like creating that little bit of a VIP type of seat for yourself for that title company, because most people get afraid of title companies, but guess what? Even closing attorneys, these people want your business. Without you bringing them transactions and bringing closings, they're not doing business. They charge you fees. On average, it costs about $7,000 to close on a transaction. Do you think they won't talk to you, or they don't want you to call them and ask them a bunch of questions and send them your deals? They do. So you need to call them, make sure, because there is certain title companies that don't do assignments, for example. They will not allow you to wholesale your contract. There's certain title companies that don't do creative finance. They don't close the real estate transactions if it's creative finance. Subject tools, for example, where you're taking over the mortgage. They won't give you title insurance. They don't want to deal with it, right? So every title company is different. So you have to vet them, make sure you're working with the right one. Make sure also it's somebody who's investor friendly. So you need to ask them if they work with investors. That's really important, because if you work with a title company that don't work with investors, guess what's going to happen? I've had it happen to me before, where I'm about to wholesale a deal, and the title company is the one who kills the deal with my seller. Because sometimes for you to build credibility with the seller, when the seller goes, how do I know that you're credible? How do I know you'll do as you say? Well, typically what you tell them is, hey, you can call my title company and check, make sure that I'm legit. The title company is a neutral party. This is how you can explain it to the seller. They don't work for you, they don't work for me, right? Is a neutral entity that makes sure both parties are protected. So you can call them and they will tell you if I'm legit or not. So imagine if you do that, then the seller calls the title company and the title company goes, oh, hey, this guy is trying to take your contract and then sell it. Be careful. This is a scam, blah, blah. Some title companies will literally do that. And you'll wonder why all of a sudden the seller want to change their mind. They text you, hey, I want to cancel the contract, or disappear on you and ghost you. That's why you want to vet them. You want to make sure they're investor friendly. You want to make sure that they do the transaction that you're looking to do. And also you want to build some rapport. I always advise newbies, the first closing, at least, make sure you make the trip. Don't order a notary if you're local in that state. Make sure you go to the title company and do the closing in person, so you can introduce yourself, shake hands with, the escrow officer, shake hands with the attorney, build rapport, because I promise you the title company is one of the biggest assets you're going to have on your team as a real estate investor. So if you can make yourself, valuable to these people, trust me, your transactions will go much smoother. Most of these title companies will help you close your sellers by giving you credibility, because you have rapport with them, because you're bringing in business. So make sure you go there, introduce yourself. They want your business. Don't be afraid of it. Does that make sense, guys? Now, if they don't do none of these transactions, I found personally, don't waste too much time trying to, educate them and inform them, and maybe they can do it. I've done it before. If they have never done it, it's not going to work out. So you want to make sure. So the best way to actually find title companies, guys, is to get a referral. So you can go on any Facebook wholesalers group or any real estate investor Facebook group, and just make a post. Hey guys, I'm about to start marketing in this area, or I'm already marketing in this area, and I'm marketing for these type of deals, and I need a closing attorney or a title company. You'd be surprised. A lot of people will be in your comments sending you a referral. So don't be afraid to ask. Now, the third thing is this. Is a really a good habit, especially if you can afford it, or after your first deal, to remember, number one, time is money. Number two, if you're marketing to sellers, you always should be focusing on making more calls. Not only that, but you should always be focusing on your next contract. So if you're too busy drafting the contracts yourself, if you're too busy talking to the title companies, because on average it takes about 30 days, there's a lot of communication that goes on between you and the title company. Things are missing, they want you to send more paperwork, then they need the seller to send more paperwork, then the sellers don't understand it, then you have to step in and help the seller understand, maybe help the seller mail it, because the seller, maybe the seller is old, they don't know how to mail, they don't know how to use emails. There's so many things that can happen to where now you're so busy on this, trying to close this contract that you just locked up, helping, communicating, drafting paperwork, that you don't have the time to market. And guess what? Remember, in real estate, the golden rule is never count your chickens until they hatch. So what happens if that deal doesn't close and now the check don't come, but you also didn't prospect, you didn't make no extra calls, so your pipeline is not full of deals that are coming through, right? So you always want to have at least 3 contracts in escrow, because the reality is not 100% of your contracts would actually get to the finish line. Anything can happen. The buyer can back out. Maybe you can try to raise the funds and not find it. Liens can come up at closing, right, with the title search, and you find out that, hey, the numbers doesn't make sense anymore. The seller can disappear on you, go behind your back, try to sell the property. So until the checks hit your account, it's not done yet. So it's a really good habit to hire what we call transaction coordinators, which we have in-house. If you reach out to us, both me, Andrew, or Steve, if you reach out to us, we'll connect you with a transaction coordinator that will actually do all these things for you, so you can focus on being on the phone and be more productive and finding your next contract. So talk to a transaction coordinator. You just give them the information, have them draft all the paperwork. They'll communicate with title. They'll communicate with the seller. They'll communicate with your buyer if you're looking to assign it, and they will give you updates. And guess what? It costs less than the Starbucks. The most you're gonna pay is $600 per transaction. And if you're making $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000, really $600 is nothing. The time that it saves you, you focus on another contract. You're not wasting your time becoming an admin and, you know, whatever. So remember, the business we're in, time is money. The more calls you make, the more contracts you get. So if you're too busy doing paperwork, guess what you're not doing? So try to be as efficient as you can. Does that make sense, guys? So I hope this video helped you. I'll see you in the next video. And I'm gonna, the mechanics, I'm not gonna go through it a lot. If you have a lot of questions, come on to the Q&A and we can go over the mechanics. But it's fairly simple, because if you call the title company and ask them any question you want, the attorney will answer all of your questions. One of the best ways to actually learn your market is to call your closing attorney and have a conversation with them. Hey, what can I do? What can't I do? What is the law here? Right? You already bring in a business. You don't even need to have that attorney on a retainer. They'll give you advice. They won't give you legal advice, but they're an attorney. They know the law. They'll give you advice and say, hey, technically, I'm not your personal attorney, but this is what the law says. Does that make sense? So guys, make sure you stay bold, be as efficient as you can, take freaking action, don't overthink it, make the calls, find a great title company on your team, and I'll see you in the next video. Boom, boom, boom.